All right, welcome back, guys. So here we are going to jump into Tailwind Analytics. Not everyone will use the Tailwind, so for those that do, I just want to do a really quick, it won't be as in-depth as the Pinterest Analytics, but show you how to read the information that is in your Tailwind account. So we're going to jump over here. So this is my dashboard, and from here you don't get too much information. But if you click over here on the most repinned boards, this is going to show you an evaluation of all the boards that you have, your secret boards, your group boards, and your regular boards. So we want to uncheck group boards and secret, and so all we're seeing are the boards that people can actually see and pin to that are not group. And so this first column is how many pins are on that board. Over here, your followers for that board in particular. Just because someone follows you, they don't automatically follow every board you have. And here are the total repins from that board. And then in the side of it, it tells you how it's faring in the last 7 days. So this is kind of where you're going to see what boards are getting a lot of action. And this should kind of correlate to what you found in Pinterest in your analytics there. So just off the bat, you see here in the last 7 days, it's up 30, so that's pretty high, and that's my Valentine's Day board. That was my highest one on Pinterest as well. My Pinterest for Business is doing really well. And then here I have my home decor, blogging resources 19. So this is going to break it down a little more in depth, where you can see and compare it. Sometimes you'll find that what Pinterest is showing, if you're pinning exclusively through Tailwind, then it might be skewed a little from the analytics of what Pinterest is showing, because this is basing it off of really the pins that is Tailwind is sitting out there and tracking. So here we have blogging resources. A lot of my boards do really well, some more than others, but I have a lot of action on the majority of my boards. In the last week especially, and I think that, again, you saw how my the analytics from Pinterest had taken the nosedive. That nosedive is not reflecting here in Tailwind. My Best of Girl Bosses Rock, all of these pins come directly from my website, and you can see how well it's doing here. It's my #1 board. So that's why I said don't pay too much attention if you suddenly have a spike like that or a nosedive, because it's probably Pinterest. So that is seeing how your boards are doing, which ones are getting the most repins. Again, same concept on seeing which boards you should be focusing on. Let's go back up here. So over here you have profile performance. And so this is just an overview of your profile. It shows your follower growth, daily, like how many I'm gaining each day. And down here, you have your virality score is total repins plus total pins. Sorry. What does it mean? How much your pins are being repinned across your profile? So I have a score of 70 or 0.70. Your engagement score equals your total repins divided by total pins divided by 1,000 followers. So it's a measure of your audience engagement with your pins, giving you insight into how much interactions your pins are receiving on a per follower basis. And so over here is your engagement rate. It's measured by counting how many of your repins have at least, how many of your pins have at least one repin versus none. So it's just an easy way to say how well what you are putting out there is resonating with your audience. And so as long as, as you progress, this should stay in the green and can't speak today, gradually increase. And so one of the things I didn't mention before, well, I sort of mentioned it in the text, but not necessarily in the video. As you start getting more and more pins on your board, whether they're yours or other people's pins that you've saved to a board, you know, after a couple of months, go in there, and if you're just, again, you can see the repin and engagement rate for the pins that you've saved. If you have pins in there that have been there for a few months and they've literally had no action at all, take them out. Just delete them. You know, if they've had one or two, I would leave them in there. But if they've been in there for 3, 4, 5 months and nobody has clicked on them, nobody has saved them, then go ahead and take them out of there. And that way it'll keep these numbers up for the how many pins you have that have received pins versus no repins. So that's really it for Tailwind. It's a lot easier to do this one because it's very simple. Again, you can, you know, see how your group boards are doing if you wanted to. These are all ones that I'm a member of. To tell you also if, you know, it's worth it for you to be in that board. Is there a lot of action on that board? Just because you're in a group board, if no one's repinning from it, then maybe you should leave that board. And then we'll click back over here to regular. But from here, again, this should somewhat match what was on Pinterest, but don't be surprised if you have a little more detail here if you are using Tailwind to send out the majority of the pins to your Pinterest account. So that is all we're going to do in here. It's pretty simple. It's just another way to add to your assessment of what you're putting out there and if your audience is actually caring about it, because if they don't care, they're not going to click. If they don't click, you don't make any money. So at the end of the day, doesn't matter what you like. And I tell my daughter this because I got her into affiliate marketing. She's 13, but she was creating boards for teenager stuff. And she has her own style, which isn't necessarily the trending style that everyone else has to have from the mall or whatever. And so she kept pinning stuff that she liked. And I kept letting her know, you know, it's not about you, it's about your audience. And so when she finally started pinning stuff that she didn't necessarily like, but it was popular fashion, that's when her click rate actually went up because it was stuff that her audience was actually interested in. So I hope that makes sense to you. That is all we're going to do in this topic here. And from here, we will go on into our resources and do kind of a summary of the entire course and get you guys to pinning. So I will talk to you really soon.